Hey everyone, Piano Man Chuck here, and I'm here today with the Nord Stage 3. This is the fifth iteration of the Nord Stage series. Well, the first was the Nord Stage, then the Nord Stage EX, then the Nord Stage 2, then the Nord Stage 2 EX, and now finally the Nord Stage 3. Now the complaint I've had in all of its predecessors, the four predecessors before this, was that little cigarette-sized LCD screen. Well, now in the Nord Stage 3, that problem is gone. Not only do you have one, but you have two OLED displays. So you've got your main control or program section over here, where you've got this great, sharp, crisp OLED display. And you also have one for the synthesizer section as well, showing waves and all kinds of stuff over there. All right, so what you just heard was this beautiful Royal Grand piano, and usually when you turn on a synthesizer or a stage piano or whatever it is, usually the first piano sample that comes up is their best, and what they have as their first here is the Royal Grand 3D, and that's a piano sample that's recorded using a dummy head in the position of where the piano player would be, with microphones in the position where the ears would be. So you were hearing that as though you were the piano player. You're hearing exactly what they're hearing. Beautiful sounding piano. All right, so there's a lot of stuff here that's new on the Nord Stage 3 that its predecessor did not have. And its predecessor being the Nord Stage 2 EX, that's where this video is going to focus on. All right, so now you've got seamless transitions. So if I'm playing something here, which is really cool. We didn't have that with the previous versions of the Nord Stage series. Seamless transitions, I mean, it really is a big deal. So that's something that's super cool over here. Now, the organ section has brought over the Nord C2D organ engine over here, and you have two new organs here, pipe organs. That's a really cool thing over here. So let's turn on the organs. Let's turn off the pianos. All right. And let's go to pipe one. And of course, this would sound a lot better if I turned on some reverb and maybe added some bass. It would sound really full. But anyway, that's the way it is, just the way it is when you select it. And of course, you can always enhance that. So let's turn that off for now. And let's see, one of the other things you've got now, you now have a Model 122 vintage rotary speaker, and it's available per slot, which is another cool thing. And the synth section now has the Nord Lead A1 engine in there, which is super cool. And it now has 480 megabytes of memory for samples. Polyphony is now at 34, which is up from 18 on the previous version. And you have a new category called Superwave. That's super cool. Let's see. Samples and synth waveforms can be combined now. That's another cool thing. Now, the piano section. This is the thing that blows me away. They've got this separate product called the Nord Piano 3, which is just the piano. But it can also load some of the sample library, or most of the sample library, and you can do that too. So you've got all kinds of other instruments, synths and ensemble sounds and orchestral instruments and guitars and basses and drums and all that kind of stuff. But this, with the Nord Stage 3, now the piano section has double the memory of the Nord Piano 3. It's actually 2 gigabytes, and it has double the polyphony. Now it's at 120 note polyphony. And they've added some more things. they've added sort of a separate EQ. It's basically the push of a button to get some predetermined EQ out of it. So if you're looking down here, you'll see something like bright, mid, soft, brilliant, treble, and soft. All right, here's soft. Emphasizes the bottom end a little bit more. Here's mid, treble. And then you have a bright, brilliant. So if you're playing and you're in a band, you can go ahead and hit that bright, brilliant, and you can cut through the mix a little bit better. So that's pretty cool too. I like it with a little bit of reverb on there, so I adjusted that. It's real easy. And the keyboard touch, you know, a lot of people like it heavy, some like it light. I like it a little bit lighter, so again, touch of a button. You probably won't see or feel what I'm feeling. I like a little bit lighter touch. Now, another thing new to the piano section is you have this layer detune setting. And you also have a new piano category called layer, and that's a little bit different too. So let me go ahead and choose something in the layer category. All right, that's pretty cool. Here's something else in the layer category. And you'll notice that it's layered, it's mixed with the synth section. It's got a mix saw over here. So you can see it both on both of the OLED displays over here. Really cool, super cool. So let me go back to the Royal Grand, which is what I like to work with. Now that layer detune that I was just talking about, let's go ahead. I've got the Royal Grand right now on slot A. Let's go to slot B and pick something else. Velvet Grand. Now here's both of them at the same time. Hear that chorusy effect. I can make that even more so of an effect by going into selection 3 of detune. All right, let's turn that off. We're back to the Royal Grand. Now the effects section over here. Now they've got a new delay thing. It's an analog delay, and it's really cool. So let me go ahead and show you that. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that on. This part is not new, but so I was playing with that for a long time. But anyway, it's got 3 new filter settings there: low pass and high pass and band pass. So if I go ahead and hit low pass, it's going to let the lows pass through, and it's going to cut out the highs and the mid. And likewise with the high pass, it's going to let the highs pass through and cut out the lows in the mids. And if I go to band pass, it's going to cut out the lows and the highs and just keep kind of the middle. Really cool stuff over there. Okay, new also to this programmer control section, you have song mode now and you have list mode. So with song mode, which is really cool, you can set the 5 buttons up to put anything you want in there. So if you're doing a gig, button 1 can be one instrument, button 2 can be another, or you can look at it as parts of a song. So you can have an intro, a chorus, a verse, a bridge, and so on and so forth, outro, whatever. Now, you can have up to 400 of these because there are 8 of these, and you can store 50 settings per 8. So you've got a total of 400. Very, very cool. You didn't have that before, so now you don't need a computer or anything like that. And also, things are now referenced by name instead of by location, so that helps out a lot. If you've used the Nord series before this, you'll know what I'm talking about. And now there's a list mode too. So if I go ahead and hit shift and list, now I can see everything that's in my keyboard, which is really cool. And you can break that down into the piano section or the organ section or whatever you want to do. And up from the previous version, which allowed you to set 2 different split points, giving you 3 different zones, now you can set 3 split points, giving you 4 different zones. Now in the previous version, when you had 2 split points in 3 zones, if you wanted organ and piano and synth, that was your 3 zones. You had to give up one of those in order to go ahead and choose an external zone. Now you don't have to do that. Now that you have 4 zones, you can have piano, organ, synth, and your external thing, like if you're hooked up to an iOS device or your laptop computer or whatever. Really cool. And you can set that external device to have layers and its own keyboard range and so on and so forth. Very, very cool. Another thing new with split points is they have this thing called smooth crossfades. Before in a crossfade, if you set up a split point over here and you had like a piano up here and a bass down here and you're playing your piano and you're going down into the bass section, the piano would stop abruptly and hit your bass note immediately when you go to the other side of that split point. Not so anymore if you set up a smooth crossfade. So let me demonstrate. Let's go ahead and hook up an organ and a piano over here. We're going to set a split right here in the middle, and we're going to put the organ on the bottom of that split and the piano on the top. So did you see that? Okay, piano and then organ abruptly. All right, so if I want to set up a crossfade so that doesn't happen, I can set the width of that crossfade so it can be just a few notes or an entire octave. So let me just go a few notes. So when I'm playing now, in essence, what it's doing is it's layering the piano with the organ as I cross over, and for every note I cross further into it, there's less piano and more organ. And the same thing if I go to the other side of the crossfade, there'll be a little bit less organ as you go along and more piano. Right? And you can see that it turns yellow to show you that you have a small crossfade. And you can have a larger crossfade, which is an octave on each side, and it would turn red at that point. All right, so we turn the split off. back to piano again. Now you can copy and paste from panel A to panel B, something you have not been able to do before. That's a pretty cool thing to do. And you also have a new input jack on the back that allows you to hook up something like a Roland FS6 so that you can switch from your buttons 1 through 5. You can go up or you can go down depending on what you want to do. So you can go from intro to chorus to verse to bridge or whatever, or from one song sample or one sound sample to the next sound sample. Very cool stuff. Now, in the effects section, compression and reverb. It used to be tied to whatever slot you were in, it was tied to both of them. Now they're separate. So if you put compression on slot A, it does not necessarily have to be on slot B as well. Same thing with reverb. So if you have two pianos set up and you want reverb on one of them and not on the other, you can do that too. All right, so really cool. Now, overall, just like before, again, you have 3 sections: organ, piano, and synth. And you can layer these, you can do whatever you want with these. So, you've got a multi-instrument here. With the synth section, you can go ahead and download anything from the Nord sample library online and add that here since it is a sampling keyboard. And it's got aftertouch and so on and things. But these are not new. But some of the things that it does is just really out of this world. And the effects section, I mean, I'm going over things that we already have, but these things are just so cool. I got to mention them again. There's 2 effects sections over here. And the first effect, you've got things like room tremolo, pan, wah-wah, and wah-1, wah-2, and so on and so forth. The second section, these are your stomp pedal effects. Things like flanger and phasers and vibes and choruses. So really cool stuff. Now, the nice thing about the Nord Stage series is you see all these knobs and buttons and displays here. And basically, there's no really menuing system for the simple stuff. You just grab a knob, which is what you're looking for, whether it's in the delay section or the amp simulator or the equalizer section or the compressor section or the reverb section or whatever you've got here. You just grab the appropriate knob, twiddle that to your taste, and you're done. No menus, no fiddling. For a little bit more complicated stuff, yeah, there's menus. Some of these knobs and buttons, you're going to have to hold the shift key down to get to a second function of that, and that's usually what's written beneath these buttons. So when you press a button, you're getting what's written on top of that, and if you're holding the shift down, you're getting what's written below that. And sometimes you're going to have to hold the button and a knob and something else while you twiddle. So it can get a little bit involved. There is a learning curve. So if you're used to Roland and Korg and that kind of stuff, it's a little bit different. Some people find it easier. Some people find it a little bit harder because they're so used to something else. But once you get the hang of it, it becomes second nature really quick. Now let's go over the rear panel, which is the same as it's been before with the exception of adding an up and down switch. So let's go from the monitor in, which is, a little 1/8 inch plug that you put in, and you can hook that up to your iPhone or MP3 player or whatever. Then there's your headphones, and then there's 4 channel outs. Usually channel 1 and channel 2 are used for your main left and right, but you also have a second set, channel 3 and channel 4. You hook up your sustain pedal, a control pedal, or an organ swell. And on the other side, you've got MIDI in and MIDI out. Those are your standard legacy MIDI. You got a rotor pedal. You got MIDI over USB. And the new jack that I was talking about for up and down, which you would hook up to something like a Roland FS6 switch. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I could go on and on and on and on with this, but I think I've covered most of the differences between this and the predecessor, and a little bit about the piano section here and the Nord Piano 3. So, Piano Man Chuck, I hope this helped you out. Peace out. Thanks for watching.